Hi, everybody. This is Marky Billson. I have a question for you. East Tennessee State men's basketball. Are they rebuilding after a school record 30 victory season? Sure seems to look that way. And I've come to that conclusion after the deal that was made, so to speak. Of course, there aren't trades in college basketball, but Octavian Corley reportedly is no longer on East Tennessee State. Instead, the center for ETSU next year will be a newcomer, a 6'9" center by the name of Richard Amafuel. He's actually a native of London, England, has been playing in the United States, places like Texas, Maryland, last few years, was injured all of last year. So how does it come out that Corley, who really had a lot of promise when he came to ETSU in 2018, 7-footer, came from the junior college runner-up at Casper, Wyoming, averaged 10 points a game, 3 block shots. You thought, okay, here's a player that can make an impact. Hey, who doesn't want a 7-footer on their team? First year, red shirts. Not that surprising. Mladen Armas and Lucas Gasson were on the team then. Where was he going to play? Come on, he wasn't going to get significant minutes. So you save a year of eligibility, watch him get bigger and stronger. But the next year, after Armas transferred, you thought, okay, splitting time with Gasson never really happened. Corley never got into more than 15 minutes in any game for the Buccaneers last year, so right now it looked like he was the odd man out. But really, after Gasson departed, you thought, okay, depth chart says Corley, he's the starter at center. He's a 7-footer, come on, mature and all this. Just doesn't look like it's going to happen. Corley recently tweeted out 3 days ago, it's been real, looked like he was departing the program. And although no official announcement has been made, it appears that Amafuel is going to take his spot on the Buccaneers roster. So I got to ask you, are the Bucs rebuilding? Because there's going to be a whole new starting 5 next year, of course, a new coaching staff, all of that. But it didn't necessarily have to be this dramatic of a change. I mean, Bo Hodges was supposed to come back and play at guard for the Buccaneers. Of course, he transferred to Butler, and now 3 other players that you thought were going to be on the roster won't be. But what makes this decision so strange is that Corley was a guy who had a scholarship. Corley didn't enter into the transfer portal. Corley was a guy who you thought, okay, he'd like to continue to be an ETSU Buccaneer. Now, that might not be the case. Again, there's no entry into the transfer portal, we give you that. But in the case of Corley, here's a guy, he's from Reno, Nevada. He's all the way across the country. He hasn't played in 2 years, and plus he's in an environment that I'm not necessarily sure that he's 100% comfortable in. I make this determination only by reading his Twitter feed. And Corley has posted a lot of things on Twitter, which is praising athletes who, say, kneel for the national anthem. Now, that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. But in uber-conservative East Tennessee, he's not going to have that many sympathizers. So one wonders if Corley might not have wanted a change himself. No announcement has been made, no entry into the transfer portal, but you do wonder, okay, could there have been a backroom deal? You know, Jason Shea coming out, well, you know what, if I take your scholarship away for this, you can probably transfer to another school without having to sit out a year. It's a possibility, it's a theory, I have no idea if it's true or not, but I'm just throwing it out there. Otherwise, ETSU has become cutthroat, because it's one thing to take away a scholarship from a player if he gets in trouble or doesn't make the grade. But generally speaking, the fact that the scouting report that you initially had on the guy didn't come to fruition is not necessarily a reason why you take away a scholarship at a level like ETSU. There may be some other higher ranking schools. It's commonplace in college athletics, but at a mid-major, this is a little bit different, and it's caused some controversy. It is cutthroat. Now, maybe ETSU has to be cutthroat in order to become a nationally ranked college basketball program, which they were so close to being last year. We can debate that. Still, it makes you start to wonder, wait a minute, did Jason Shea get cutthroat for a player who really wasn't significantly better than Corley? I know Corley hasn't played well at ETSU, but let's look at his pedigree versus Amafuel's. Well, Amafuel, here's a guy who, like Corley, chose ETSU over New Mexico. That gives you the sort of idea caliber of the type of school that was after these two centers. Amafuel is 3 inches shorter than Corley. He's 3-4 years younger. He's not as physically mature, and remember, he's coming off an injury. Is this a significantly better player than Corley? Pedigree says no. So you have to look at this. It's one thing for the players that have graduated to leave with Jason Shea, but the reason why you hire a Jason Shea, the former top assistant of Steve Forbes after Forbes left ETSU for Wake Forest, is because a coach like Shea is supposed to keep the players in the fold. He's supposed to shore up the roster. That really hasn't happened because 4 players have departed since Shea has become the head coach. And let me just ask you this. You've effectively made this trade if you're ETSU basketball. Bo Hodges, best player on the team, Davian Williamson, someone who can now play in the ACC at Wake Forest, Jalen Johnson, and Octavane Corley for Truth Harris, Marcus Nieblack, Sarah Smith Jr., and Richard Amafuel. Now, I'd take Cyril Smith out of that latter quartet, but you really are trading, in this case, the now for the future. If this was Major League Baseball, they would be saying that this is the sort of deal that, is made for a team trying to win in the pennant race, and you're willing to give up a prospect or two to make sure they make the playoffs. One of those things, okay? Because you're looking at 3 new freshmen coming in for players who might have been entering their senior year or so. I would make the deal Cyril Smith for Jalen Johnson. I would make that deal, but the others, certainly not for the short term. So we have to ask ourselves, what kind of a team is Jason Shea going to put out on the court in 2020, 2021, assuming there is a season? Right now, it really does look like a rebuilding year for ETSU when the fans obviously aren't going to be that patient with a team, and Shea, to get an automatic renewal of his contract, must win 25 games this season. Folks, if you like it, I ask you to hit the like button on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube as well, and also follow me on Medium, where you usually can read this in written form. So until next time, I'm Marky Billson.